Welcome fantasy football enthusiasts and league members to our post-draft analysis video. So, here we are. Draft dust is settled, rosters have been meticulously crafted, and the excitement is palpable. So, let's go ahead and dive into the player selections and team compositions. In this video, we're basically gonna quickly be grading the overall squads and just offering some insights that could make all the difference between victory and defeat in this upcoming season. So, for those wanting, grab your notepads and get ready to embark on a journey of strategic brilliance and calculated risks as we evaluate the outcomes of the TVT Fantasy Draft. Alright, so a quick note before we hop into everything here. Ultimately, when things panned out, nobody really actually aced the draft, nor did anybody fail in this draft as it was auction based. So we did go ahead and curve all of this as an A through a C grade. So let's go ahead and get to all of that and start off with the middling grades. These are our B individuals. So most of these rosters have a good mix of depth and stardom. However, they're clearly lacking a few things. We're going to go ahead and start from the bottom here with Eli's team.
Eli actually started off really nice, able to get Diggs as well as Jackson for very pretty reasonable prices. However, wasn't really able to fill it out with much depth outside of Stevenson for one of his running backs. It was lacking a lot in many crucial areas, so he's going to also have to be one that's going to have to be working those trades and the waiver wire pretty early from the beginning in order to make sure he's contending as well.
Alright, and we also have Jared at a B-.
Jared's team has a couple solid stars. Hill, Burrow, as well as Chubb should help him get a decent amount of points, but from there on his running backs and wide receivers, it's a bit of a drop-off. And on tight ends, he got two middling tight ends, so should at least get decent points there.
Dylan at a B.
Dilly over here ended up with actually a pretty solid core. However, it was the fact that he's lacking a lot of supporting players there that actually drops him down in my rankings, as those are the guys that help get you those extra points where you really need them. So, curious to see how he combats that.
The combo team of Joey and Matt at a B.
Joey and Matt have a really solid wide receiver group over there on their team. Everybody from Schuster all the way to Lamb as his starter and T. Higgins should bring in a lot of points, especially with them having 3 spots. He also has Mark Andrews on the lineup, but from there, Justin Fields is more of a middle-of-the-road QB, and outside of Najee, doesn't have too much going on the running back side, but overall pretty solid draft for that two of them.
And Josh rounding it off at the top with a B+.
Josh's team, looking at it, really strong, not just at the wide receiver position, but as well as tight end too. However, at QB, Lawrence is more back end QB1. Obviously, he does have upside, but we'll be curious to see how much he can reach that this year. And also at his running back position, definitely needs a little bit of help there, but overall pretty good draft for Josh.
Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and turn our attention over to those individuals that had less than ideal teams in the draft. Okay, at the top of the list we have Michael.
For our commissioner, he went with a real heavy wide receiver approach, one of the best groups out of everybody. Looking at Cup, Allen, and Judy as his 3 guys, and then he's got Tooney and Cooks on the bench, so should be really good. But from there, pretty much goes down. Jones and Goff are rough quarterbacks to have. Running back's a little bit of a strength there, but pretty average along the rest of the league. And then at tight end, got an average tight end with Pat over there. So we'll see what's going on.
Also, we got Mike with a C as well.
With Mike's team, obviously, he has really good depth at the running back position. And, of course, Mahomes going to probably be, I'd say, at least a top 5 quarterback at the end of the year. But through all of that, this is a half PPR league. So his biggest glaring weakness is that wide receiver spot. And ultimately, if he doesn't make some trades or find a way to snag somebody before they get big this year, it's going to be a bit of a rough year for Mike and his team.
And our reigning champion coming in at a C- in the draft.
With Aaron's team, he has a lot of good depth at the running back position. As you can tell, I mean, people like Derrick Henry, Sanders, Connor, all on that team allows him a lot of good possibilities for who he's going to go with week in, week out. But from there, lacking that depth at tight end, QB, and even wide receiver, although he has A.J. Brown as his number 1, which is solid, from there it pretty much drops off with Metcalf, Addison, Dotson. It isn't that they're bad, it's just he's really banking on all of them having, back to breakout years or back to what they used to be in Sutton's case. So very risky strategy that might not pay off for him. So will be interesting to see what we have there.
And all that leaves now is the winners. So an A- in the draft, we have Daniel.
Dirty went for the superstar power play, and in my opinion, he actually overpaid for quite a few of his guys, which led to him not being able to have that money for a lot of the depth, which hurt him in my rankings. So we'll be curious to see how he approaches the preseason and in-season wire, as well as trades.
Next as well at an A- and easily could have had the best draft had it not been for the fact that he left $20 in budget on the board. We have Joseph.
As mentioned before, had it not been for a wasted $20 of budget, essentially 10% of spend for the draft, BB would have ended up with the best draft here. He didn't spend a lot of money early on, so that allowed him to sneak in, get a lot of value draft picks later on, but is going to have to make some moves in order to make sure that he competes throughout the year, especially at the quarterback position where Cousins may struggle a bit outside of the connection with Jefferson he has.
And then the final 2 spots at the top. Number 2 goes to yours truly with an A.
As for myself, I spent quite a bit of money on star power to make sure I'd get those consistent projected points, which should be there. However, did sacrifice a lot of depth for that, so having to find value picks later on and off of the waiver wire throughout the year is going to be very critical in having a successful year.
And that means the winner, ultimately, and best draft goes to Will. Congratulations, buddy.
In my opinion, Will won the draft because if you look at his roster, ultimately it's a good mix of depth and star power. He is going to have to shuffle that lineup based off of matchups, but again, does have the ability to do so with the guys he was able to draft.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Go ahead and check out our website where we have more information. You can see all of the photos that we covered today, the draft grades, the team compositions, and we're going to be putting up some stuff as the season goes on for actual weekly matchups. So look forward to seeing you all later. Take care.